Hello. In this video, I'm going to be going over what an OCF analysis is and why it would be a good thing for your business. Now, OCF stands for opportunity, which is the opportunity that's out there from a search perspective. If we did a keyword research and we actually did SEO, how much opportunity is there? The C stands for competition, which is what are our competition doing that we should be copying? Or what are our competition doing that we should be doing better? And the F stands for feasibility. And that's a really important part of what this analysis is. SEO isn't the best channel for every business. Imagine a B2B business selling broadband cables from one building to another. What are people even searching for that? If that's your business, by the way, don't invest your money on SEO. There's probably a better thing to put your money into. But anyway, unlike most people, we want to be really transparent with that because that has happened to me. And I did have to work for a year on a business that sold underground broadband cables to other businesses. It was incredibly difficult and it doesn't work well for us. It doesn't work well for the client. So the F's a really important part of this analysis. It stands for feasibility. And ultimately, if at the end of the analysis, we see that SEO isn't a great channel for you, we'll show you why, we'll explain how, but we'll make sure you still get value from the presentation. We'll make sure that you still understand what you should put your money into, and we'll make sure you still get insights into how to make your website the best as possible. Now, I'm going to show you some examples of previous OCF analysis we've done, and they'll differ. I'm going to show you three, and one of them in particular we did for a business where the feasibility wasn't actually that feasible, and I'll show you how we still gave them value. And one of them is for a brand new business. They'd never done SEO, they barely had a website, and so we do this a lot for brand new websites starting up. And one of them was for an existing website where they wanted us to do an analysis to work out what we can do to improve their business. And that's another really key part of the OCF. It's not just for new websites. It's not just for existing websites. It's not just for businesses that don't know if SEO is a good channel. It's for everyone. And it's more of a complete feasibility study into the marketing channels of your website and what we think you should be doing to increase your conversions and get more visitors. So let's jump right in. Welcome. So the first OCF I'd like to show you is for a website called Hey Rosie. Now, if you haven't heard of them, they're awesome. They basically are an AI answering service. And so if you are a lawyer or a plumber or an electrician or a small trader, you'd use Hey Rosie because you might want to stop sending people to your voicemail or your answering machine, or you're fed up paying for a 24-hour answering service. So if you're a plumber, rather than sending them to the voice machine, your Hey Rosie, your AI phone software will pick up the call for you, and it will book in the appointment and it will speak to them as if it's a person. So miles better than the answer machine and miles cheaper than a 24-hour call center. Now, they were brand new when they came to us. They had a website, sort of, it only just started, and they came to us and we did an OCF analysis to work out what we could do for them and how we could grow their site organically. So the OCF, we looked at the opportunity. Is it even worth pouring money into SEO for this? We looked at the competition. What are our competitors doing? And our competition, especially for a new and upcoming industry like this, wasn't immediately obvious. So there's no direct competitors to them. Well, there is now, but there was no direct competitors to them. So the competitors that we were going for were 24-hour call services. It was receptionists. Anyone advertising that sort of thing were our competitors. And then we did a forecast. We looked at the feasibility. So is SEO even a good channel for them? And so I'm not going to go through the entire presentation because there's some information here that is client sensitive, and that is the case with all of them. But I'd like to give you a feel for what is included and the results that you can expect to get from something like this. So the methodology of these things is always the same. We start by doing a keyword research. So we go away for your business and we'll conduct a really exhaustive keyword research. And we'll look at everything. So we'll look at indirect competitors. So these are the competitors for Hey Rosie that have like services, but they're not AI. So they're still after our audience because it's an answering service, but it's not specifically directly competing with our product. We also try to find direct competitors. And then we go to all the standard keyword research tools, your Ahrefs, your SEMrush, and we pull all the keywords possible that we think they'd be interested in. We then go a stage further and actually start to look at Reddit and Quora and all the places that our competitors wouldn't be looking at because keyword research tools don't normally have that. And that's a standout thing that we do. We leave no stone unturned to find those keywords. We then scrape Google's related searches and people also ask boxes, so we get even more keywords. We're building up this massive keyword database here, a keyword universe. And then the long story short, and this is the same for every presentation, these slides follow the same path. As you can see, we've got our methodology, we do the keyword research, we scrape Reddit, Quora, we get more people also ask. Same with these. We always do the same steps, and we're left with thousands of keywords. So for Hey Rosie, we had 60,000. And then we always try and filter them down into a keyword list that's manageable for you. So 28,000 we're keeping as directly relevant. And then we use our own clustering technology. We've built our own software to turn this massive keyword list into something more manageable. So what our keyword clustering tool does is group all the keywords into these set clusters. And you can see the combined search volume. And we do that using our very own software, Keyword Insights. So we actually create the software that helps us do this analysis. It groups them into, so it groups all these keywords into the pages that we need to create. It even shows us the intent behind those pages. So we know that a certain page is informational and we need to create a blog. And we know if a certain page is transactional and we need to create a service level page. And we use all this data, all that keyword research that we've pulled from so many more sources than other people would provide, like going to the ends of the earth to get those keywords and clustering them and working out what pages. We do all of that to come up with this strategy, this OCF analysis, where we look at the opportunity, the competition, and the feasibility of what an SEO looks like. So this strategy is always focused on these three core pillars of SEO. We always look at the technical aspect of your site, the content on your site, and the authority. And these percentages change depending on the niche, right? So if you are a huge commerce brand, these technical might be 60, 70% because the site is really technical. It's got loads of filters. It's got loads of faceted navigation. If your site is more like this one, which isn't going to be that technical, it's going to be the content and maybe sometimes the links, maybe a bit further down the line, that's going to be core to our strategy. So this is completely bespoke. It depends on your business and what we see where you need to put your effort into. So we'll start on the technical, we always do, and I'm going to just flash through these so you can see the sort of things we pick up on. Now, for this website, there wasn't much going on the technical side because it is a new site, so there wasn't really much technical stuff to flag. But we did this almost like a proactive analysis. So it's like, if you were to build a site, these are the things we need to bear in mind. And it's things like, look, your site structure at the moment is really flat, but of course it's a new site. So we need to start building out what that site architecture might look like. And we do that as part of what we offer. So you'll see here, we did the whole keyword research and then we grouped it into, and I won't zoom in so you can see all of the text. We grouped it into these core areas. So if I zoom in, you'll see some of it. And we mapped out what that site architecture looks like. And this is based on the keyword research and clustering them so we know what pages to create. We also wanted to make sure that our navigation was sorted. So on this particular site, the navigation wasn't quite optimized, and we wanted to bring important links up into the navigation so that link equity is spread throughout the site. And that's a core part of SEO, making sure that the right pages get good link equity. So we wanted to make sure that that was all sorted. We did mock-ups of how that menu might look. And we even commented on the fact that they may need to sort their heading structure out and what that might look like. We said the metadata might be improved. And this is a core part of how this analysis looks. We show you an example of something that's wrong, and then we show you how to fix it. We just show you this is why it's bad, this is how to fix it. And we're targeting these at specific keywords. And then we looked at other technical aspects of the site, like the structured data, how they set up the canonicals. We looked at other things that were fine. This isn't designed to be a massive tech audit where you're going to get 140 pages. That's no good for anyone. We're looking at core issues here and core things we can fix. So the rest of this is going through some things that they need to fix. And then it finishes with an action slide. These are the core actions that you need to do to get this site in a technical good place. But as we said, this is a small startup site, so wasn't too relevant. Then we look at the content. So when we do the content strategy, we look at every stage of the funnel. So from all the way at the top, all the way to the bottom. So this is where we're going to pull visitors in, and this is where we're going to convert them. And we always start with the bottom because obviously this is the most important. And we show them some solution type pages they can build out. So before, all this site was going for was AI phone service. And they didn't know that we could build out all of these industry type pages, 24-hour home servicing, pet grooming, and there's various other pages we can build out. As you can see, after hours, 24 hours answering service, AI receptionist, call answering service. So this is all based on that keyword research we did, and we've clustered them to find out what pages we need. And again, I'm not going to zoom in, but we've started to map them all here. So if I just zoom in at one of them, I'll go in here, you can start to see we've mapped out some of these core service pages. And so we go through all of the bottom of the funnel pages here. And then at the very end, we come up with some action slides again. Then we look at the middle of the funnel. And this includes things like building competitor alternatives. So alternatives to our brand. So open phone alternative, ring over alternative. Because if we create that content, we can position ourselves as a decent alternative and be the client that they want, right? And there's comparison pages we can make, like Rosie versus this. And there's various other middle of the stage funnel things that we can be doing. And then we look at the top of the funnel. So what do we need? This is really top level content. And we show them some ideas that the competitors are doing. We show them the strategy we should create around our content. We show them some examples. We even map what their blog category should be. And then we go into explaining what some of those ideas are. At the very end, we look at link building, and we look at some link building strategies. So this particular site is new and he has 14 links. We show how the competitors have a lot. And then we show them how we're going to put together a link building strategy. And I'll just skip through the end of that. But the next few slides are showing them how we link build. And then the very final slide shows them some of the things that we need to do. It just summarizes the whole presentation. So it's like, after you've digested this massive analysis of your site, you have clear actions. These are the actions. Here's the links. Here's the description. And here's how we can help going forward. So this is an important part. As you might have seen in the presentation, we might say your metadata needs improving. Here's an example page title that needs to be improved. Here's an example of how to improve it. We then don't go through all of them. We just show you some examples. So in this final slide where we're talking through the actions, it's like, one of the things you need to do is improve your page titles. We've given you an example, so you can go and do that, or we can help you do all of your site's page titles. Link building, we've shown you some strategies. If you want to implement them, we'll come and help you do that. So this analysis basically was a really good first start, a first port of call, because before we'd even jumped in and started fixing technical things to do with the site, we already knew everything we should do. We need to create these service level pages as a top priority. We need to do some of the tech fixes to get the foundations right. And then later down the line, we need to link build. So like, for example, some businesses just get straight into link building. You might not even need to link build. It's analysis that tells us what we need to do first and what dials we should be spinning first. This is an example of a website that has been going for many years. And this was a good example of where the F comes into play. So the F stands for, as I said, feasibility. Now, this lady sells a very niche type of product. She helps kids or parents of kids with addiction or mental health illness, but it's not rehab. It's not designed to help the kid, and it's not designed to help the parent help the kid. It's designed to help the parent. So it's like helping them transform their lives with this really incredible program she offers, really incredible community she has. It is very niche. No one's searching for how to help their kid. Not many people are searching, how do I help myself because my kid is in this situation? And so the actual SEO opportunity isn't much because there's not many people searching specifically for that. So we still do a strategy and we still look at how feasible SEO might be for her. Again, methodology is the same. Keyword research. Again, we pull from people also ask. We combine all these keywords and then we cluster them again. As in this one, a lot of our competitors aren't direct competitors because the audience she's after are like rehab centers, mental health advocacies, these kind of websites. They're vying for the same audience that we're after. So we needed to pull keywords from there as well. Again, we used all of this information, big keyword research to try and design a strategy. 3 core pillars, technical content authority. Now you can see links is actually a bigger thing here. They're going to need a lot of links to compete with some of those mental health and health institutes. We start with the technical again. Now, there was actually quite a lot of technical stuff to do on this site. Remember, this was an existing site, so there's a lot more to do here. And we showed them, need to add breadcrumbs. There's a load of internal links we need to start building. There's a lot we need to do with our site called Web Vitals, and we show them how, and we show them where they can fix this in the code. I'm not going to go through all the tech side, but then we get onto the content. And like, this is the homepage currently, and it might have changed depending on when you're watching this video, because one of the big things that we noticed was there's a lot of text on the homepage. There's a lot of, it doesn't quite explain exactly what their mission is. Whereas when we compare it to our competitors, remember the C in this analysis, the competition, when we compare it to our competitors, we know that they're a lot clearer in what their pain points they're targeting are. So we very clearly listed the current problems with the homepage and the suggested changes. So unclear messaging, let's make it clear. And what we did off the back of that was designed a new homepage that clearly addresses the pain points. So rather than at the minute where it was discover what your struggling loved one wants you to know. These are three, like, don't know what this business is at the moment. And we've redone that. Helping women transform their lives and their relationships. Tells me what it is, bang. Offers a solution. Whether you're navigating, yep, cool. Tells me what you do. And then you're clearly offering your services. It's very, and the text has gone, it's very much, it's a lot less. We go through a lot of other things here again, like top of the funnel and middle of the funnel. And we go through how we're going to target this bottom of the funnel. And as you'll see, actually, I won't go through each slide by slide, but we end up saying basically that these bottom of the funnel, we basically say there's only 3 keywords pages that we can target, and they're not even really bottom of the funnel, as we'll say here, they're more middle of the funnel. So the long and short of this is, and we all want bottom of the funnel queries, right? Because that's what converts. The long and short of this is that there isn't much bottom of the funnel opportunity. But then we go to the middle of the funnel and we go through that. And then we go to the top of the funnel and we go through that. And so the long and short of it is, and we'll skip to the end here because there's a lot we go into about the links and things. We wanted to answer her very specific questions, which were, some of these were, so this is an interesting point actually, little segue. She had some very specific questions she wanted us to answer. And when we do this analysis, if you've got specific things you want us to look into, we'll look at that as part of the analysis. So they're completely bespoke to you. One of our questions was splitting the site into 2 for reasons I won't get into. And so we looked at the pros and cons of doing that. But the big question was this one and this one. Are there any content ideas out there? And is SEO even a good channel? And so for are there any content ideas out there? We actually did find some, but we've caveated that it's very limited. And the key question, the F, is SEO a good channel? We were very honest. We're like, it could be. So the problem at the moment that she has was that they had this top of funnel content, because there is not much bottom of the funnel content. They have this top of the funnel content, but it's not converting, as top of the funnel content tends to not. It's very informative. It's just designed to get a lot of eyeballs on the site. But it didn't help that the site was designed, I showed you the examples of the homepage. It wasn't designed in a way that really clearly advertises the pain points and benefits that it's trying to prove or trying to help. It didn't have really clear call to actions. So what we're saying is, look, it could be, but with a more holistic site to your approach to your site in general. We believe SEO hasn't converted effectively because most of the content ideas are too tangential. So that actually was one problem, is that the content was a bit too far-fetched. We did find a load of ideas that were a lot more aligned with her product or service offering. So that's one thing we surfaced. That was great. And the other big problem, as you saw when we looked at the homepage, the site lacked a really clear path from that top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel. There was no compelling calls to actions. The navigation wasn't clear. The USPs weren't clear. Visitors aren't guided to convert. So if we refocus, making the better content that we've given them, but also improve things like their home pages, their sales pages, we think we could convert. It still won't be massive, but the percentage could go from 0.05% to maybe 1 or 2%, which is a big uplift. So all that is to say is that I wanted to show you an example of one of these analyses we did that didn't necessarily suggest that she should put a load of money into SEO, but it said that this is how to make SEO make the most for you. These are these other changes you need to make before SEO will be even remotely feasible. And I like using this as an example because I think most of the time we might just jump straight into fixing all the tech stuff. And it's very regimented. Let's fix the tech stuff first. And then let's do some content, right? And then let's build some links. It doesn't, as we've seen with this, if they'd fixed the tech stuff, if they'd written more content and they built more links, they're still not going to make much more money because the fundamental problem with the site was that user journey, and that's what we identified needed fixing first. So this actually is requiring a whole new site build, which isn't always the case, but we might have wasted, or she might have wasted another 2-3 years budget doing SEO and not getting any returns on that because she hadn't done this one-off analysis looking at this site completely first. This final example, really quickly, is for a universal containers. The branding's slightly different here because this is an old one, but this is for an existing business that's been going for, I think, 25 to 30 years. And the reason I'm showing you this example is the site's been going, well, for a long time, but also the feasibility was that there's a lot we can do. And so methodology is always the same, keyword research and all that. So I'll skip through all that. There's always the tech side, there's always the content side, but you'll start to see, like, started looking at this, and there's loads of issues with these category pages, which we go into. The heading structures was all the same. The headings needed to make more sense, like the headings would just leave a review. There's a lot of confusing content. So when I clicked each one of these, it didn't change the URL, it just changed the content on the page. So for search engines who are reading the HTML of these pages, it actually had all the content for all of these different products all on one page, which is really confusing for a search engine because it doesn't click this button. It doesn't know that these are actually different pages for the user. So it dilutes a lot of the content, which is really confusing. There's other things we found, like had different looking category pages. And as we go through, we actually spoke a lot about how we improve the product pages, like have more pricing in there. We have upsells, modifiers, all these things to start improving it. And we found a lot of new categories as well. So again, using the keyword research, we mapped out what we call our information architecture. So as I said, we do the keyword research, we cluster them, and then we can see where the gaps are in our site. So where you see this rectangle, these are the existing pages the universal container site had. And where you see this shape, they didn't have them. So you can see they had all these. They had containers for sale, 8-foot containers for sale, 10-foot containers for sale, 10-foot containers for hire. They had container conversions, but then on that container conversions page, they just listed all the types of container conversions they could do. Our keyword cluster and our keyword research showed that you need a separate page for container home conversions, container cafe conversions, container gym conversions. They did have workshop container conversions. They did have shipping container offices, but our keyword research showed that we can actually break this into 2 more pages. We do this information architecture actually for a lot of the sites we do this analysis for. We find it's a very visual way of saying, look, this is how your site's structured and these are the pages you have, but this is the pages you want. And so we found a lot of that here. We did a content audit. We found that a lot of their content wasn't performing, and so we needed to delete a lot of that content. Long story short, at the back of this, we're like, look, there's a lot we need to do with this site, including a rebranding. If you look at the branding here, like this big blue and pages needed redoing. So the next stage for us with them was actually a complete rebrand, a complete new site build, which is what you're seeing here. It's a lot cooler branding. Here's all those container conversions pages that we mapped out. You know, they were previously missing. All of these, they're now actually in here. Do you remember when I was saying that the anatomy of a product page had prices and things? So now we've got like prices on here. Get another one. So there's prices and things on here. There's like, it looks more like a category page. And the net gain of this over the last 2 years, I'll just quickly show you. So we've been working with them for a little bit of time now, and since we made that new site, launched it with the new category pages, it's just been rocketing up and continues to do so. And so that's the OCF analysis, the opportunity, competition, and feasibility of a strategy for your website. As I'm hoping you gathered from the little demo I gave, it's very bespoke. It gives a very top-level view of your website, a very clear strategy, and it tells you if it's even worth spending money on SEO. We're very transparent like that, and we'd like to show you that, yes, let's continue to do this. There's a lot we can do. Or no, there's not a lot we can do for SEO, but there's maybe some other stuff we can do. We can rebuild the website to have exciting call to actions and a better user journey through. It also helps set the direction so that you're not just doing a tech audit, when actually if you do a complete analysis of the site, you might realize you don't need to do the tech. Maybe you just need some links. Maybe the tech's okay. So a couple of those 301 internal redirects that you might be trying to fix, waste of time. Let's just build a few links. The analysis is designed to give a very clear direction and prioritization. I think what wasn't clear when I went through the presentation is the actual deliverable that you get. So at the end of the OCF, you get the deck, presentation deck, which is often 100, 150 slides. You'll get the keyword research we've done. So you can use that to go and start creating content straight away. And you'll get it in that nice clustered sheet. So you can actually see the pages you need to create. And where applicable, we'll give you any other material. So sometimes we do that information architecture diagram if we think it's appropriate. Sometimes it's something else. Anyway, would love to hear from you. We are confident you'll be incredibly impressed with the deliverable of the OCF analysis.